conference is done. Only 3 losses to this point, and 2 of them were to undefeated nationally ranked teams. How do you feel about your squad coming into conference play?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the record, just because of the schedule and how daunting it was and how much we wanted to challenge ourselves, I have to be honest, if I looked back 3 months ago and told me we could start 10-3, I probably would have taken that. The 2 losses against the Texas teams that are still undefeated, very easy to justify those. Fairfield was incredibly hot that day, played better than us and beat us. That one still stings, it still hurts. It's one that I think we all wish we could get back. But from a record standpoint, good. From how we're playing right now, I feel really good about that. Some of that stems from the Fairfield lessons that we were taught. I wish maybe we were kind of building a little bit more depth, if I'm being honest, right now, but I still think that will come. I still like our players. I just, some game experience, looking back, probably wish we could have developed that a little bit better.
You mentioned Fairfield, and at that point afterwards, you were talking about your defense. The last 3 games, I think you've only given up like 52 a game. Have you changed things, or are you just playing better?
Sometimes the adjustment is to play harder and play better. I think there were some things in the post that we've tried to clean up a little bit. It wasn't anything that we've changed, back to basics. A couple of those games, a little bit more scouting report tendencies and some of those things that we did change. But for the most part, I think we just had to clean some things up. I don't think we were a poor defensive team. I think we tried doing some new things in the Fairfield game that didn't work. So I think that was part of it. But I think we just kind of had to reassess some things and kind of shore some things up.
Okay, Maggie leads the A-10 in scoring, rebounding, and assists. I mean, she's better. I don't know how she can be, but she's better this year.
No question, right? And that's what you want all of your players to be. You want them to make some improvements, and Maggie took some things to heart over this summer. I think she's just doing a lot of things better. I think some things that we asked her to do with defense and with screening and being a playmaker and making everybody else better. We're allowed to kind of use her as the hub a little bit of our offense, maybe a little bit more than what we have in years past. So I think that part has helped. I think she also realizes that she's got some pretty good players playing around her that fit, right? She's usually got some pretty good shooters, and I think Sierra has helped a little bit alleviate some of the hub and offensive spark plug sort of thing with our offense. So I'm very happy with her, and I think everybody else is kind of figuring out how to play with each other as well.
This year, it appears to me that she has maybe an air about her that maybe she didn't have in past seasons. I don't know if it's confidence or maturity or just whatever you need to do, I can do it for the team.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we were all disappointed coming out of Henrico last year in March. I think she kind of flipped some things there. She had a great season, but I think we talked through some things. I think she was way better in the NCAA tournament because of some things that happened in Henrico. So all of a sudden you're better in the NCAA tournament, which gives you a lot of confidence. You look at what she did this summer, both with us, but with USA Basketball. I think that gave her some confidence. And, the kid's watching a lot of film, so she learned from a lot of things from last season. She learned from a lot of things in the preseason. Still think we've talked through how we expected her to be guarded, and sometimes we didn't see all of those defenses. We know we're going to see some different defenses that we probably haven't even shown yet because nobody's really forced us to, but really excited about how she's improved. She's playing at a really, really high level, but I think she'll be the first to tell you there's still room out there, and I think she knows she's going to have to play even better in the next 2 months.
We touched on your defense. The offense, you've shot 405 threes. I mean, you lead the league by a ton.
Yeah.
Happy with that? Would you like to see less, or where are you with that figure?
I don't know that we'd set out for a certain percentage or a certain number of threes that we take. I don't think there's been a game that we've said, hey, that's way too few or that's way too many. I think so much of this is about reads. So much of this is about finding other things. And if the three-point shot is a product of that, great. I think one of our best offensive games last year was against LaSalle. They did a really good job taking away the arc, opened up some other things. So I don't think we go into games saying we have to shoot a certain number or we want to shoot the ball threes or we need to find the arc more. We're playing basketball, and whatever those reads tend to, we just want to make the right reads, make the right decisions, and kind of go from there.
All right, this week you start conference play in earnest, and first team up is URI, a team that's played very well this year, beat NC State They lead the league in defense, even though it's just the second conference game of the season and it's a December game. You get the feeling like this has kind of heavyweight matchup tendency.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really good teams in our league, but it's not lost on us. Even the tough non-conference schedule, but I think even the draw of our conference schedule. You look at some of the doubles, you look at where we're playing on the road. It's a challenge. So we've got to make sure, especially to those other teams that we're competing with or want to compete with at the end, for seeding and everything else, that you want to make sure they're not getting wins against you. Right? We've got a lot of daunting games ahead, not just Rhode Island. But yeah, you look at what they've done so far, they probably have the best non-conference win out of anybody in the league. You could argue they're playing better than anybody else in the league. You watch them on film, they lost a lot from last year, but they've got firepower, and probably a better team than what they've had. So they've always been a challenge for us. I think, we've had some great battles with them over the years, and I know they got us for a few years, and maybe it's been in our favor the last couple. But this is going to be a heavyweight match, like you said, and I would expect the winner of this game to feel pretty good about where they sit, even if it's just 2 games in.
I think our non-conference play was really tough. We played a lot of good teams, and I think that's going to prepare us for conference. Obviously, with our 2 wins at the Henrico Center against Alabama A&M and Penn State, those were really good wins going into the break. So I think that kind of gave us a little bit of confidence. So yeah, we're excited. Looking forward to starting my last conference play and a bunch of other people's conference play. So yeah.
Your year so far, you lead the conference in scoring and rebounding and assists. Even better than you imagined this year? Or tell me about your season so far.
I'm just trying to, help my team win as much as possible. It's my last year. I don't want to leave with any regrets of, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. So just try to leave it out there on the floor every game that I get.
When I watched you play, there was a certain air about you maybe that I didn't notice before, maybe more confident, kind of like whatever needs to be done I can do. I mean, am I right? I see a certain level that maybe we haven't seen in past years.
Yeah, I think kind of just like I said, I know it's my last year. I know it's my last year at Richmond, and I've been in the system for 4 years, so I kind of know what to expect. I know how the system works. I kind of am able to, talk to coach a little bit more, and we kind of have that relationship of bouncing ideas off of each other a little bit more this year than past. So there's definitely a level of comfortability that has, upped with my senior year. But yeah, it kind of goes back to my other answer.
I mean, the past couple of years, teams have always focused on you defensively, but now I would suspect even more so. How have you been able to handle that so far?
I mean, it's kind of the same. I think I still have some really big threats around me on our team. Obviously with Rachel and Allie coming back. We have Alicia, who's stepped up big this year. Tiara and Sam have done a really good job in the post. A couple of our freshmen have stepped up big too. So I still feel that I have threats around me that if teams are gonna, put more emphasis on me defensively, I still have, people around me who are gonna be big threats too.
Okay, 2 A-10 conference games this week. You start out with Rhode Island, who beat NC State, #1 in defense, and even though it's only the second conference game of the year, I get the feeling that this is a really big game early, correct?
It is a big game early. Rhode Island has been a tough opponent my 4 years. Obviously, my sophomore year, we beat them in the A-10 championship, so they've always kind of, been a kind of far away rivalry. I guess our rivalry is BCU, but they've always been a big rival for us. So we know they have a couple new players to their team. They have a bunch of returners too. So obviously, like you said, their defense is really good. They want to get downhill, and we know that we're going to have to lock in on defense in order to beat them. But I'm excited. It's going to be a good game.